Well, a little mood music there. My name's Marty Edwards. Welcome to Facebook Live, Black Sheep Harley Davidsons for Christ. Punch Ringhoffer, I'm so good to see you on there. Well, actually, I don't see you. I just see your name. But that reminds me of you, and that's awesome. Jim Love, Waldo, I cannot see your last name. Wallerby. Yeah. Jonathan Nielsen, Kent Wells. My wife was telling me this morning, she says, I love it when you look at the names and read them. It takes me back to Romper Room and when they used to look inside the magic mirror and see everybody on there. Gordon Hicks, Carrie Scossett, Eric Thurston. These are the same people that are always early. You're always right here on time, and it's good to see you. Greg Sobere, good to see you, buddy. Minister Ralph Soletto, good to see you. Peter K. out there in Florida, good to see you. Eddie Yarder in Texas. Waldo, Walrub, you spelled it for me, Walreb. Walreb? Good. Oh, I've been putting a whole bunch of extra consonants in there. Connie, Tammy, good to see you guys. So, listen, last week I introduced an idea that we would create some kind of reporting for our chapters to the national office. That you would set some goals and that you'd be able to track those goals and see how you're doing throughout the year. I was impressed by the response that I got not only on Facebook Live but on the phone calls and emails that followed that week. It was all positive. I had some questions and some light concerns about what the motive was and what direction we were going with it. But it was all positive. I think partly it's because they're excited about growth and expansion and keeping the Great Commission. We talk so much about we're not a club, we're not a writing club, we're not an MC, that we're a ministry, and yet ministry it suggests action. It suggests things being accomplished and getting done. And so we talked about that last week. Hi Zach, hi Dan, hi Jerry. Good to see you guys on there. Tonight, I want to do a couple of things. I want to give you some feedback and some encouraging news from around the country regarding this. The board met last night, and we talked about this on the internet. And then after we're done, I want to talk to you a little bit about why set goals. I was doing some research on this today on the internet, and really exciting stuff, good stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there about goals. You don't have to believe me. Look up goal setting or why set goals or the benefit of setting goals, and there's just a lot of good information on there. So anyway, someone told me that if we were to start a subject like this, that people would freak out. But after last week, just the opposite happened. Black Sheep are actually getting excited, and that we're talking about growth and expansion. The Great Commission. I talked last week about an article that I had written called Setting Goals for Intentional Expansion. Intentional expansion. In other words, it's not we grow if we happen to, but we're going to actually set our hearts and our minds and our planning to grow, to expand the ministry, to build the kingdom of God. And if you want that article, you can simply go to my email, bs, as in black sheep, bs.prez@yahoo.com, and say, send me the article regarding intentional expansion, and I can send that to you. It's about a 10-page article. For some, there's still a little apprehension, and I want to talk to you about that in just a second. But first, let me give you some updates and highlights. First of all, the feedback's been positive and encouraging. I told you that. The board weighed in on this, and they want us to research this a little bit more and start asking ourselves some hard questions about how we're going to follow up on this, and in terms of being able to help you. If we said that we wanted to help you reach your goals, how are we going to do that? We also want to make sure that you understand that this whole process, this keeping of goals, are your goals that we want to keep, not our goals. Somebody asked that. No, we don't have goals that we're going to put on your chapters. We want to encourage your chapters to say, these are our goals. This is what we want to accomplish this year. This is what we want to see happen. And they're not our goals. No, I gave you some suggested goals, things like this year we would like to reach this many people for Christ, or this year we'd like to make this many hospital calls, or we'd like to add this many new members, or would like to attend this many hog chapter meetings or whatever. But those are suggestions, and we want the goals to be your goals. And so don't get real excited about the forms that I put out last week. We're going to pull those back, and we're going to redo those, because I want to leave space on there for you to say, these are our goals. These are our goals. I'll send suggestions, but I want to know what your goals are, and for intentional expansion, so that we know that we're moving forward. Okay? So the feedback was positive. The board weighed in on it. We want to make sure that these are your goals. We also want to make sure you know this is not Big Brother trying to keep tabs on you. This isn't going to be reported anywhere but to where we determine as a board where the reports need to go. Question was, well, maybe these ought to be looked at by the regional directors. Good idea. Maybe these should be kept just in-house for you. I have no problem with that, except I know there are people who will likely not do it if they're not going to keep the goals. They're not going to make goals and try to keep those goals if they're being reviewed in-house. In other words, they're going to let themselves off the hook. And we need somebody to lovingly hold us accountable and say, hey, how are those goals going? Hey, how are you doing? Not in a punitive way, not to punish anybody, but to say, hey, how's it going? How's your riding with Hog going? How's your fundraiser going? How's your attempt to add on new members in your chapter? Whatever your goals are, somebody needs to come along and say, how are you doing? I meet weekly. You guys know this, with a accountability partner who I've been meeting with for over 20 years, and he knows my weakest points. He knows where I constantly need prayer and accountability. And I can't hold myself accountable. I need somebody else to say, hey Marty, how are you doing? We prayed last week about that. How are you doing this week? And that's what we're talking about in terms of setting goals. Now, I got some really terrific information from Grayson Adams, our Inland Empire Regional Director. He called me probably in about 2.5 seconds after last week's program, and had some great ideas. Let me remind you, before I tell you what he said, what we said about objectives and goals, and then he added to that something I think is very helpful. It was for me anyway. Number one, objectives and goals. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. Somebody called me today and we were talking, and they said, well, we looked at Marty's list and we're already keeping those goals. Think about that. We're already keeping those goals. There were no goals. There were blank spots. We would like to see this many people come to Christ. We would like to increase our membership by this many members. We would like to ride this many miles. There were no goals. They can't say we're already keeping those goals. What they meant to say probably was, we're already thinking about those things. And that's good. But goals, they're measurable. They're attainable. We want to reach these things. We've got a dartboard on the wall with a little red dot in the center, and we're trying to hit it. There it is. That's our spot right there. That's what we're trying to do. So objectives are ideas of what we want to do. I want to lose weight. I want to grow hair. I want to get rich. I want to get healthy. They're kind of like broad, general things. But goals are very, very specific. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to grow 4 inches of hair. I want to make $1 million before I die. I want to travel to 5 countries in the next 2 years, or whatever. They're very specific and they're very measurable. But then I got this call at the end of the program last week from Grayson Adams, and he was so excited. Of course, I don't know when Grayson has ever not been excited, right? Anybody out there see Don Wiseman, Matt Glantz? Those of you that know Grayson, the guy was born excited. In fact, when he was born, he came out and he hit the wall, okay? That's exactly what happened. I have it on the doctor's good word that that's exactly what happened. But he came, he was all excited, and he said, Marty, I've got to talk to you about SMART goals. I said, well, what's a SMART goal? I mean, of course we want our goals to be smart. We want to think this thing through. We don't want to be silly. We don't want to be stupid. What do you mean by SMART goals? And he says they're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, and they're timely. And that spells out SMART. Write these down if you got a pencil in front of you. The kind of goals we want to write down, they're specific, they're measurable, okay? They're attainable, they're relevant, and they're timely. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Now here's a quick example. My objective, let's say, my objective is to lose weight. Just an idea, it's broad and general. But my goal, however, needs to be smart. Number one, it needs to be specific. I want to lose pounds. Okay, I'm not talking about just getting into shape. I want to lose weight. That's specific. That's the S in SMART. I want to lose weight. Now we want to make it measurable. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. It's measurable. Now I want to make it attainable. I don't want to lose 100 pounds in a month. You know why? Because that would be deadly even if you could do it. You can't lose 100 pounds. It's not attainable. It's not reasonable. It's not realistic. You want to make it something reasonable. So you have to maybe ask a doctor or somebody, how many pounds could I realistically, measurably, attainably lose in the next 30 days? Well, I'd like to, you could probably lose at your weight, you could probably lose, 20 pounds. Okay, so I know that now that I have a specific goal to lose pounds, it's measurable, I want to lose 20 pounds. I've checked to see if it's attainable. Yes, that's attainable. Is it relevant? Yes, it's relevant to what I'm doing because I want to be healthy. Okay, it's relevant. It's important. It's significant because it's what I want to do to be healthy. And is it timely? Yes, because, now fill in the blank, because I'm getting ready to run a marathon, or because I've been short of breath, or I've been lacking energy. Our goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. SMART goals. Thank you, Grayson, for that. That was good. Now, what about motorcycle ministry? Well, specific. You might say something like, I want to care for injured bikers so as to be able to earn the right to be heard and have influence in their lives and have an opportunity to reach them for Jesus. Okay, that's pretty specific. Is it measurable? Well, not yet. What do you think you could do? Well, I'd like to meet one a week or one a month. Okay, so you're measuring it now. I want to meet them one biker a month with the express purpose of ministering to them if they've been injured or hurt or sick or whatever. Okay, are all of those attainable? Yes. Is it relevant to what we're doing? Absolutely. Is it timely? Yes, because bikers are being hurt every week. Every week it's in our news that some biker's gone down or whatever. So some think goals, I think the concern is that some think that goals will confine us, they will bind us, they will restrict us. We think that goals are somehow in opposition to the Holy Spirit. We think that they are legalistic, that they're going to make us be like the Pharisees and keep the letter of the law and miss the spirit of the law. No, it doesn't have to be that way. We're supposed to keep the law, but we know that we are under grace and that we also need to keep, in addition to the law, we need to keep the spirit of the law. So you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Law or goals, I believe, 5 things here. You can write these down if you want. I believe that if we have goals, specific goals in our chapter, that it'll set us free. It won't confine us. It's going to set us free. It's going to get us started. Sometimes it's so hard just to get started. We want to do something great. We want to do something meaningful. But where do we begin? We're not sure how to even get started. Goals not only get us started, they give us specific direction. Because we've said we want to do this, and it gives us a direction to go to. They also show us our progress. I remember going on some kind of a ocean whale watching excursion or something like that, and I remember standing on the back of the boat and watching us pull away from the harbor, and I stood there forever, and it felt like we weren't going anywhere. But then I went up to the front of the boat to do something, probably throw up. And I picked up something and I came back and it was like, oh, look how far we've gone. That's kind of what goals do. They show us our progress. They show us, wow, we said we wanted to do this, and we've done twice that. And boy, that's exciting. Which is the fifth thing, they encourage us. Goals encourage us. They inspire us. They energize us. So here's a list of someone else. I picked this up off the internet. I don't know who wrote this. But I thought it was really, really good as they began to spell out what goals do for us. What do I believe goals will do for our chapters? Hang on to this for just a second. At the end of this, I'm gonna give you my phone number. Here's my phone number now, if you want to see it: 951-587-1623. See that? I'll hold it up again later. I'm going to ask you to call in with any questions you have about this, or something you want to talk about this. Maybe concerns that you've got about this, ideas that you've got for setting goals, maybe some goals that you've set in your chapter or personally. Let's think in terms of 30-second phone calls, because I want to get a lot of people on if they want to share their ideas. But here's this list on why to share goals that I think was really good, and I want to share it with you. Number one, they said that goals bring clarity. Clarity in our task. And from now on, I'm going to say in our motorcycle ministry, because that's what we're talking about. Goals give us clarity. With goals, I know exactly what I want to accomplish. See, you've heard me say this many times before. It's easy to be busy. It's difficult to be effective. I'm not interested in being any more busy. I could care less if I'm busy. I am passionate these days, even more so than ever, about being effective. I think the older you get, the more you really want to make a difference. I hope you want to make a difference. I hope you want your chapter to make a difference. I hope you want to look back a year from now and say, wow, look what we did. Look what God did through us. Look what we accomplished. Goals give us clarity. Goals give us confidence. How's that? With goals, any measured progress is exciting and it's encouraging. You know, I know that the first time I stepped out and tried to share the gospel with somebody, it was terrifying. But after you've had a couple of successful rounds with that, it's pretty great. It's pretty encouraging. I remember the first time you went on your bike, first time you went on a ride. It was like, yeah, this is a little spooky. And then after about 100 miles, you're thinking, hey, this is great. I've just ridden 100 miles. I'm feeling good. I'm developing some confidence, so clarity and confidence. Goals also help us with our focus. With goals, I'm looking daily and weekly at exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. My mind's not going here and there. I'm focused on what I want to do. We know that we want to win bikers to Christ. We know that. But how has God told you to do that? What ideas, what inspirations has He given you? Well, I'm going to spend more time with Hog. Okay? Let's put a number on it. Do you want to ride or go to a Hog meeting once a month? Twice a month? 5 times a month? You know? If you accomplish those things, you're focused on, tomorrow there's a meeting, I'm going to be there. This Saturday there's a ride, I'm going to be there. Sunday afternoon they're cooking hamburgers. I'm going to go down there and see if I can help. It keeps us focused. So goals bring us clarity, they bring us confidence, they bring us focus, and they give us specific directions. It's kind of like focus. Goals keep us heading in the right direction. You know, it's so easy for us as humans to get off to the left, to get off to the right, but we look straight ahead when we have the direction that goals give us. There's a verse in the Bible, I can't remember what it is, but one of the translations says, and this is after Jesus had come through most of his ministry, and he knew that he was going to have to go back to Jerusalem, and that he knew that when he got there, that's when he was going to be betrayed and crucified and killed so that he could die for our sins. It says that he set his face like flint. Or another version says he resolutely set his face towards Jerusalem. In other words, he was focused. He had direction. He knew exactly what he was doing. His goal was to die on the cross for our sins. Not to help us be better people, not to heal everybody, not to feed everybody. His goal, his measured goal, was to die on the cross for our sins. And at this particular point, he became very focused that was what he was going to do. And that's what goals do for us. They keep us focused The main thing remains the main thing. The important thing becomes the most important thing to us, and we stay focused. This was an interesting thing that somebody said that I thought was interesting. They said, goals give us simplicity. Goals give us simplicity. Now, Luke 9:51. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Luke 9:51 for that verse. Simplicity. See, I think some of our people that might be concerned, they're thinking, this is too complicated. It's not. It actually makes things easier and more simple. Ever work all day and then at the end of the day felt like you got nothing done? Have you ever had like a Saturday and you got up early and you got on your old pants and your old shoes and your old t-shirt and you put on your work gloves and you went out to the garage and maybe you got distracted or maybe you found something different than what you wanted to do and you kind of got busy there and a neighbor came by and at the end of the day you were frustrated because you didn't get anything done you wanted to do. I know a bunch of you have done that. I've done it. I've come to the office before. I'll get home and my wife says, how'd your day go? I go, I don't know. I don't really know what I accomplished today. Okay? See, that's complicated. That's frustrating. But goals give us simplicity. A honey-do list that guys make a lot of fun about is actually a good thing because it's simple. Okay, I'm going to do number 1, and then I'm going to do number 2, and then I'm going to do number 3. And when I go home at the end of the day, I feel good. I feel good. Who's paying attention? Matt, what are you asking? Matt Glantz is doing a good RD thing, and he's asking everybody, who's paying attention here? All right. Goals give us clarity. They give us confidence. They give us focus. They give us direction. They make things simple because we know exactly what we're all about. They give us a sense of accomplishment. Man, this is what I want at the end of the day. I want to go home. I don't care how tired I am, but if I can say, man, I dug that hole. I wrote those letters. I built that fence. I prepared that whatever. That sense of accomplishment feels so good. It feels so good. Now, this was one of those weird ones that somebody suggested. They said, think about this. This is good. Goals give you charisma. Gordon Hicks, you could use some charisma. John Strickland, you too. I could use a little bit myself, okay? But here's what they meant by that. They said, have you ever talked with somebody that was passionate about a vision? Now I say, well, what do you mean a vision? That's kind of creepy. No, I mean maybe they just saw a new bike and they saw what they wanted to do with that bike, and they were telling you about all the stuff they were going to buy. Maybe they were excited about a trip. We're three of us are getting on our bikes and we're going down the 15, and what we're going to do is when we get to Palm Springs over on the 10, we're going to and they're starting to describe it to you, and they're sucking you in. You're getting excited about their trip. You're getting excited about their motorcycle purchase. You're getting excited about what they're going to do. You're getting all pumped up. That's called charisma. You ever run into somebody in the store that was on a mission to get something done, and you felt their passion, you felt their excitement? Has their vision ever pulled you in? I know I got pulled in. Some friends of mine were talking about going to Ethiopia. And they weren't trying to get me to go. They were just telling about their previous trip and all the things that they accomplished and all the people that they met and all the cool things that they did. And when they got done, I was like, I want to do that. I want to go there myself. They sucked me in. They were charismatic. They were drawing me in with their passion. When we have goals and we listen to somebody, we talk to somebody and they're listening to us and we're describing to them, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. By God's grace, we're going to get this accomplished, and this is going to happen. They get sucked in. What'd you guys do this weekend? Oh, we went down to the dealership and had a couple of hot dogs and a Coke. Not terribly exciting. We went to the Children's Hospital, and we met 20 kids, and they were sick. Some of them were dying, and we loved on them, and we gave them toys for Christmas, and their faces got so big and smiley and happy, and it made us feel so good. And some of the parents were Christians. They let us pray for their kids, and it's charismatic. It draws you in. It's exciting. It's exciting. People, they want to be a part of what we're doing when we're doing something that makes a difference, okay? If you really set goals, you are passionate and you become more attractive. You light up. You start to talk with a passion and with an interest. You have your strong position and your reasons on why your goals are important, and it's contagious and other people get excited about it too. Martin Luther King was named as one of the best speakers of all time, and his speeches were analyzed by a lot of speech experts. They tried to discover the secret techniques that made him so charismatic and influential. How was he able to attract so many people? And why did they end up following him by the thousands? His technique, the experts say, was pretty simple. He set big goals that he was passionate about. Listen to that, guys. Black Sheep, listen to this. He set big goals that people were passionate about. When have you ever been motivated because somebody suddenly was trying to raise a certain amount of money for a kid with cancer? When were you ever motivated to go on a ride because you were going to see a person that was dying? We want to make a difference as human beings. As Christians, we want to have an impact. And goals make that possible. That's why the next thing that people say is important about goals is that it gives us energy. Not knowing what to do next is exhausting. Let's go back to that work day on Saturday. You're sitting in your lawn chair and you just don't know what to do next. What should I do? You know, sometimes it's really quite innocent. You know, we tried to fix the sprinklers and that didn't work, and then we tried to fix that leaky roof and that didn't work, and then we tried to do this and that didn't work, and we're not sure what to do next, and that is exhausting. You haven't done anything, but you're exhausted. Having goals gives us energy. Not having a plan or knowing how to get started depletes us of the energy we have. And I've seen it in some of our chapters. You talk to them on the phone, you say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" "Oh," right there I know what's going on. "Oh, not much. You know, we went to breakfast last week, and you know." And then I call somebody else and I say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Oh, you're not gonna believe what we did last week. "Oh, it was crazy. We went," and then they suck me in. They tell me their story and they tell me about the cool thing they've accomplished. And they're excited. They're full of energy, and they can't wait to get back out there next weekend. Finally, goals keep us going when times get tough. This is another thing that I see in Black Sheep a lot, and I see it in the local church as well. When times get tough, people they get distracted, and they want to quit. Or they want to pick at somebody else. You know, they're not sure what to do, and things aren't going the way they want them to go, and so evidently it's your fault. You know, they want you to do something about it. They want you to fix it. I remember one time during the early 90s here in Temecula, probably all over the country, there was a huge recession, and Temecula was a boom town at that time, and lots of people were moving to Temecula from Orange County and San Diego and Los Angeles because homes were cheap out here. And yeah, it was a bit of a drive to their work, but you know, they wanted to come out here. So they came out here and they bought homes cheap, and they buried themselves in those homes, and they did all kinds of improvements to them. And a couple of years later, when the recession hit and they didn't have jobs, or their jobs were cut, or they had to take other jobs that made less money, they still had their homes and they still had their money. And they had bought this house for $300,000, which was a smoking deal. But now they owned this $300,000 house, and it was worth about $200,000. And you know what? I was pastoring then, and there were so many angry people in the church. They were so angry, you know. And I get it. I mean, you know, you're frustrated. You're scared. Anger is actually a secondary emotion. The primary emotion is often fear. You know, your kid steps out in the street and you about to rip his arm off. Why? Are you mad at him? No, you're scared. You almost lost your kid. And I had these people in the church when I was pastoring that just, Yeah, the music was too loud. The music wasn't loud enough. The church was hot. The church was cold. We had too much money being spent on youth. We didn't have enough in our youth program. There were just people coming at me from left and right, and they were just moaning and groaning and complaining about everything. This one guy walked up into my office one day and he says, "I got a bone to pick with you." I said, "Okay, get in line, you know." He said, "I saw you playing that new guitar on stage today. I think it's pretty insensitive of you to play that guitar, go out and buy a guitar with church money and play that new guitar on Sunday morning when the church was struggling and we're struggling." And I said, no, that guitar was given to me. It was a gift." Oh. Well, I'm not sure how I feel about the church buying that fancy laptop there. That's back when laptops were kind of new and rare. I just don't know that we need to be spending our money. No, that laptop came on like a wholesale deal from me going to the seminary that I was at. They paid for almost half of it. And he went on and on and on, just started to pick and pick and pick and pick. But the problem was him. The problem was him. Things were getting tough and he got distracted. He forgot what he was supposed to be doing. And we start to pick at other people. I think so often when we have problems in our chapters with people getting along, I think it's because they don't have a goal. They don't have a direction. They don't have a focus. They've forgotten what the mission is. They've forgotten that this isn't about you. This isn't about you getting to go on the ride you want to go on or whatever. They're just mad. And they just start fights and you know, it's bad stuff. Well, we've all experienced setbacks. Goals help us to put one foot in front of the other and get started when we find ourselves in a hole. One of my favorite cartoonists is the guy Larry Larson. Is it Gary Larson from I wrote it down. I got it right now. Far Side. I've got all his books. I love Far Side, and I love this one picture where this guy is sitting on the edge of his bed in his tidy whities, and he's looking down at the ground, and he's saying over and over to himself, "First the socks, then the shoes. First the socks, then the shoes." He was just so out of it and so tired and so distracted. He just needed to remind himself, first the socks and then the shoes. And sometimes we need that. Goals give us the next step. Goals tell us what to do when we're stuck. Okay? Well, listen, I want to talk to you. This is my phone number. We've got about 15 minutes left. 951-587-1623. I want you to talk to me about goals in your chapter. Things that you'd like to see accomplished, things that you have accomplished by setting goals. You may have some questions about this. You may have some concerns about it. Give me a call. Your board is working on this. We spent probably an hour or so last night, and I talked with the staff about it today. But here's Bill Ream from Oregon. Bill, now remember to speak up. Hello, Bill.
How we doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
Good. Listen, so here's my 2 cents on this deal, okay?
Yep, let's have it.
Okay, I think one of the things that people get, why they get afraid of goals is because they're afraid of failing.
Yep.
And, but you got to understand that failing is okay.
Yep.
It's okay to fail, because if you're failing, that means that you're at least trying to achieve something.
Yep.
But if, you know, so I'll tell you what we're going to try and do this year. We've set this year to have a monthly meeting every month. That's new for us.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Good.
So our chapter is going to start having a monthly meeting. Our first meeting is the end of the month here. We're going to have our first meeting. We're going to talk about goals. And I want to see us continue to grow. Okay, that's going to be one of our goals. I realize that we got to put a number on that, but I want our chapter to put a number on that.
Right.
Okay, about how many people maybe we can, new members we can get this year, and then we want to. We're at every single hog meeting, and we're on a lot of the rides. We cover, and we're at almost every event. But what we want to do this year, we want to set a goal of going over the mountain and helping out some of the chapters that don't have the numbers that we have. And so
That's
we're going to
awesome.
split up this year. We're going to split our thing, and we're going to set some goals on getting over the hill and helping some, like the Rod's chapter and the Eugene chapter, and get over there, and so we're going to pick some things that we can go and do and help those guys out.
Hey, Bill, Waldo,
Yeah.
Waldo just put on my screen here. He says failure is the best catalyst for change. Don't be afraid of it.
That's right. I mean, if you're not failing, you're never going to get anywhere. And I think that's what people really are afraid of. They're afraid of failing.
Well,
okay?
and let's say whatever it is that you're trying to do. Let's say you put a measurable number on it, and you say we want to do 5. We want to do 5. We didn't do this last year, so this year we want to do 5. If you accomplish 2, you didn't meet your goal, but that's not a failure, is it?
No, you win because you gained 2 new members in your chapter.
Yeah. I love that.
And so,
Thank you,
yeah,
Bill.
I love it. I think it's going to help us. You got to have a target, and
Yep.
if you don't have a target, then you don't know what you're aiming for. And I think the other thing that goals help us do is they help us to have a common focus. And so we're all focused on the same thing.
Right.
We know what we're headed for.
Right.
Okay, we want to try and get 3 new members. Okay, we want to do this. And so everybody's headed in the same direction because they know where we're headed.
Right on. Hey,
I'll let somebody else call in.
do me a favor, Bill. Try to get excited about this.
Okay.
Age, you tried to call in a few minutes ago. Give me a call. See who's going to call in next. The number's 951-587-1623. Give me a call. My phone was ringing a couple times while Bill was on there. Somebody else, give me a call. Age, are you out there? Age, give me a call. What's on your heart and mind, buddy? There he is. Boy, you ask and you receive, just like that. There you are. You heard my calling you. What's going on?
What's up, buddy, man? I'm just real quick, on the road here, man. I'm excited. I was watching your Facebook Live. Well, actually listening to it here on my Bluetooth in the car. I'm caging it today because it's raining in SoCal. It's our first winter storm. It's 65 degrees. I love it.
Good, yeah. So what are you thinking? What are your thoughts about all this?
Well, man, I'm excited because I've never seen so many young people buying Harley Davidsons in my life. I now work at a Sweetwater Harley Davidson, which is the furthest southwest Harley dealer in the United States. And I'm just excited to see how many young people, under the age of 46 are buying motorcycles, Harley Davidsons.
Yeah, I just got suddenly depressed when you were referring to young people as being under 46.
Well,
I have socks older than that.
yeah, that's why we got, that's why you got overseers to help keep you encouraged, my brother.
Yeah.
And, hey, listen, though, goals for this year, I know I'll make it quick. I don't want to tie up all the time here. Our goals here is to reach as many people in the San Diego area as we can with Black Sheep, not only just to gain membership, but to grow it so that we can cover, a couple of dealerships. Once a dealership sells the franchise, new things happen. And what happened recently in Sweetwater, this is something that happens all over in the midst of all of our goals, is that new owners came in. So we're pretty pumped and excited about that. But now the chapter there is probably going to change up a little. So our goals are to just impact the city, get new membership. We got a couple guys interested now and one guy in the pipeline of mentorship. And we're pumped and ready and excited to see what God's going to do, man.
Okay, now I know what people are thinking here. What you just said is awesome, but it's objectives. I want you to pray about some numbers. Okay, now not man's numbers, but God's numbers. God, how many people do you think we could reach this year? 3, 5, 10, whatever. God, how many dealerships should we add to San Diego area this year? 1 more? 2 more? Pray about it and come up with a specific number that you feel like God is talking for you guys to shoot for. Okay?
Man, that sounds great. We're going to take that and we're going to take it to the Lord in prayer and see what God
All right,
does,
brother.
man. I'm excited.
Good to talk to you, buddy.
All right, man. You too.
Drive safe. All right, we had somebody else call us a second ago. We got time for probably 1, maybe 2 more calls. I like that. But you see how he slipped into into objectives. We want to win this city for Christ. We want to get into more dealerships. Those are great objectives. Those are terrific objectives, but they're not measurable. And so that's why you want. I know measurable. You say, "Oh, it's not about the numbers." It is about the numbers because the numbers represent people. Okay, and it's a number that God has given you. God, I want to reach everybody that you want me to reach. And God, how about can I reach 3 this year? Can I reach 5 this year? Get down and get specific and see if the Lord can give you some specific answers. Hey, who I got on the phone here? 858.
Hey, this is John Strickland.
Who is this?
John Strickland.
John Strickland. I couldn't find my speaker button. John Strickland from San Diego. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Marty. You know what I was thinking? We really need to qualify people, and what I mean by that is, much like you qualify a customer in a retail setting,
Yep.
you need to really reach into people's lives. When we have people and folks sitting in our chair, we need to know what's going on in their lives, especially if they're hog members that we see all the time, and to really find out, because there's always something that we can pray for people.
Okay, so you're not talking about qualifying for membership. You're talking about just find out where they're coming from
and what their needs are,
and what their needs are,
how we can help them. I mean,
Good.
Rather than just going through the motions.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what else you're talking about? You're talking about listening with a capital L.
Exactly.
How many times do we say to people, "How you doing? What's up?" And those are rhetorical questions. We don't really want an answer for that.
And not take fine for an answer.
Yeah, fine is not an answer. Say, you can do better than that. What's going on in your life? Those are good qualifying questions.
So that's what was on my mind, Marty.
Good. I love it. Very helpful. Thanks, buddy. Who else? Got time for one more call. We say we're going to try to keep our time down this year. We're not doing a very good job of it. But I'll take one more call if somebody wants to call. What are your thoughts about our chapters getting more specific and more on purpose, setting goals, expectations on ourselves? What are you thinking? Hi, Chad Perkins. Chad's one of our mentees. He's on the road. He's a truck driver. He's coast to coast. The guy's a hard worker. And he's actually picking up a little bit of Facebook Live here while he's on the road. There's John Sahlberg. John, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to be up in the Seattle area. I've always wanted to go to Seattle. I just don't know who Adel is, but I'm going to see them, okay? Really bad joke. Sorry about that. Anybody else want to call in before we hang up here? Just remember, guys, goals make a difference. Goals make the difference. They encourage us. They strengthen us. They ignite us. They give us a charisma that others want to be a part of. When we say, we're asking God, we're not being arrogant, saying we're going to win 20 people to Christ. We're saying we're praying that the number that God's given us is that we're praying that we could lead 3 people to Christ this year. We're praying that we could start a down biker fund just for our own hog chapter. Maybe we can get $500 this year, or $1,000, or whatever number you set on it. Get something really specific that you can look at, that you can touch, that you can point at and say, this is what we're going to do. This is what, by God's grace, we're going to do this year. If you can't put a number on it, if you can't spell it out specifically, if you can't taste it, if you can't spell it, if you can't smell it, you're not going to reach it. Let's ask God for great things. Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than all we can think or imagine, to him be all the glory. That's why we're doing what we're doing. God bless you guys. Bye.